Greetings guys and welcome back to my channel, Portia O. As you see from the title today, I am finally going to be giving you guys my actual birth story, like how it happened, because it went not as planned. So if you are interested in seeing the arrival of my baby boy, then make sure you guys keep watching. Okay, so my original estimated due date was December 17th, 2020. If you've watched some of my previous videos, then you know that I originally had a doula, I had a midwife, and I planned for a home water birth. So it's been a while, so it's been almost a year, so I'm trying to remember exactly how it happened. So December 8th is when that week, the whole week I had been preparing. I had anticipated on having him on the 17th, so I had been preparing for my home birth, for the setup and everything that I'll need postpartum of the birth. And so December 8th, I had went and I had got my hair done in butterfly locks. It was a really long process. And after that, when my hair finally was done, I went home. My hair was so tight. I don't even know what I was thinking when I got them. I couldn't even like lay down to go to sleep. So like many other nights, I was up 3 a.m. in the morning, taking my hair out. Couple days prior, me and my mom had found a little penny candy store. So we had went in there and we had got a whole bunch of penny candy and whatever. So this night in particular, I couldn't sleep. So I was up like at 3 a.m. like many other nights. I'm always up at that time. And so I was up, I was watching Law & Order, Special Victims Unit, eating my penny candy, and taking my hair out. And I have probably watched like 2 episodes of Law & Order at this point. And then I heard my mom, she had knocked on the door and she asked me if I was okay. And I told her that I was fine because, you know, I was cool. I was chilling. I was kicking it like I always do. I had went off, and before I started the next episode, I was like, let me go to the bathroom because I have to pee. And I wanted to sit and, you know, be comfortable watching the next episode without missing anything. So I got up and I went to the bathroom and I peed. And then at some point in the midst of me peeing, I realized that I was peeing a really long time, right? I was peeing so long, so I had this big belly, and I'm like, okay, well, let me try to like see like why I'm still peeing. So I tried to like stand up a little bit but look over my stomach, and it was blood. It was all in the blood. You know how like when you pee and then you can stop and you can hold it and then you can release and you can pee some more. I tried doing that because I wanted to get to the door so I can call my mom to tell my mom, you know, what was happening. But all in the midst of this, like, I'm a calm person, so I didn't panic or nothing. I was just like, let me, you know, grab one of these pads that I had got for after postpartum bleeding and stuff like that. I was like, let me grab one of these pads, and I like put it between my legs and I had to hold it, and I kind of like waddled to the door and I called my mom and I told her like, I'm bleeding. And she like, oh girl, you finna hide this baby. I knew you was finna hide this baby tonight. And I'm like, no, like, I'm bleeding. Like, and she went and she looked in the bathroom. She said, oh, nah, hell no, you gotta call the midwife. I ain't never seen no shit like that. This, that, and the third. Well, I'm like, okay. So, like, we call. The sun is, like, coming from behind the tree branches. So, we call my midwife, and we explain to her, you know, I'm bleeding. Because days prior, like, I gotta move out the sun. Days prior, my cervix had been opening because my mucus plug was coming out. So when we called the midwife to tell the midwife what was happening, she, you know, was half asleep. No, she wasn't half asleep, she was asleep. And she was like asking, am I dizzy? Am I this? Am I that? And I'm like, no, like, I'm fine. Like, I'm literally just bleeding. Like, what the fuck is this? And so she was like, just go to the emergency room, have them check your cervix. I think that your cervix is just opening up really fast. So it was like, okay. So my mom, put my underwear on, put the pads on, put my sundress on, those strapless, just slip on sundress, sit on the bed, and then while she went to go get her stuff on so that we can go. Now, in the midst of her going to get her stuff ready, I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, and like everything that like we learned in nursing school, like right before you about to be, everything that my midwife was asking me was I experiencing, I started experiencing it. So it started to like freak me out. I got a heat rush. I got dizzy and lightheaded, and then there was the ringing in my ears that really was just like, what the freaked me out. So I'm like trying to breathe, and I'm like, I think I'm about to. And then next thing I know, open my eyes, I'm leaning over, my sister there, my mom on the phone with the midwife. She calling my name. I passed out, fainted. So I heard the midwife, she's like, just lay her down, lay her on her left side, prop her head up a little bit. And she was just like, call the paramedics, had them rush her to the hospital. So I ended up getting rushed to the fucking hospital. And I got video clips. I'm gonna try to see if I can insert them. So I got rushed to the hospital. My mama followed me. Remind you, my child's father lives in another state. Just so happened he had already been here, because if he hadn't have been here, I don't know how long it would have took him to get here to see our son be born. But all right, and they rushed me back to the little room. Nurses in there, they hooked me up to the fetal monitor. Listen to the heartbeat. You can hear the heartbeat. It wasn't like super strong like how it was when we did it like at my appointments, but you can hear it. And then the lady's asking me all these questions, and I'm just like, I'm out of breath. I'm still hot. Like, she feel my cervix. It's like she feel my cervix. I'm still bleeding. Like this, and like when I say that I'm bleeding, I don't mean like a little bit. I mean like turn the faucet water on and water comes out the faucet. That's how blood was coming out of me. So I'm like definitely losing a lot of blood, right? So she came. So she ended up doing like the little thing with the Doppler, and that's when she had asked me if I knew that I had placenta previa. Now, remind you, I was in nursing school, so we had maternity section. So I just really learned what that was. So when she said it, my heart just dropped, because I knew that everything that I had as a part of my birth plan was about to be tossed out the window. So I was like feeling myself getting emotional, like, and so I'm like, no, like I didn't know that I had that. That was never something that was discussed between me and my midwife and the nurse that she worked with. So she was just like, okay, well, we're gonna have to take you back for an emergency C-section, and we're gonna have to put you under and whatever. So I'm like, okay, can my mom come? And she's like, no, like this is like really serious. You've lost a lot of blood. Both of your heart rates are like slowly fading. Like we have to get you back there right now. So I instantly started crying, like, no. Like everything that I wanted not to happen was actually happening to me. Like still keep my placenta, like, and it still be encapsulated. And she said she don't think it will be in good condition to be. So then I was like, what the fuck? Like I was really like, I was pissed. I would say I was pissed, but I was more just like, okay, let's get him out so that he's okay. Like, more like that. But no, I started crying with mama, like, but you just gotta do it. And I'm like, I know. Ended up telling my mom before they took me back to call his dad, because his dad, I knew he was here, so just let him know what was happening. And so they took me back. Y'all know how, like, in the movies and stuff, like, when a person's about to get, when a person's about to get surgery, and you know they laying on a little table and they're rolling, you see the lights, and then the lights, and then the lights. this was my first major surgery. This was my first surgery ever. So I'm on that and I'm like looking at the light. I'm looking at the light. I'm like, okay, let me just close my eyes because that shit gonna make me nervous as fuck. In there, and there's all these people in these blue coats and stuff, like nets and stuff, masks, and I'm just like, what in the fuck is going on here? So I just closed my eyes. And let me remind y'all, I was in the process of actually taking my hair out. So walk into the room, all the hair on the floor. If you are a black girl, you know what you look like when you got half braids, half your hair, and I had my bonnet on. So the nurse was like, oh, okay, well, you don't need a little cap because you already got one on. Then she put the mask on me. I remember she put the mask on me, and then I woke up and I had a baby. I didn't get to see him for like, I don't remember exactly. I don't know if it was 6 hours or if it was 12 hours, but I didn't get to see him right away. He had to stay in the ICU for the babies. I really don't remember how everything went after that. Like, my mom was there when I woke up. I don't really remember. I can't even really tell. But if you don't know what placenta previa is, let me try to explain it. Okay, so, because I'm visual. So when you are pregnant and a baby, your body makes the placenta. The placenta is attached to the umbilical cord. It's a lifeline for the baby. It's supposed to be up as your belly grows. It's supposed to be up. Mine wasn't up. Mine was down. My cervix, which opens like this as, you know, you dilate, my placenta was on top of the cervix. So as my cervix opened, the placenta bled out. So that's why we was losing so much blood, and it was like cold pink, they called it. Everybody in the hospital knew who I was. Quite embarrassing. So they had me hooked up to, I forget what it's called. I want to call it I forget what it's called. I don't want to butcher it, but it's like a little machine. You push the button and it like inject a dose of medicine into the IV that I had, and it was also on the scheduled dose. So every so often it would send a dose of morphine, I think it was, into my IV, and then like in between I could push it if I was in like extra pain or whatever. So I ended up finally getting to go to see the baby, and I'll just insert those clips somewhere in here. But yeah, that was what happened. I was in the hospital probably for 2 days. My mom and his dad, like the nurse that I had, actually, she was real nice, young girl. She was real nice. She let them both stay because really we could only have one visitor, but she let them both stay. At the hospital, I had all good nurses except one, you know, those older nurses. And she was, they be like, she was nasty. I wasn't really feeling her, but all the other nurses were good, were cool. But yeah, so I had to breastfeed him. That's really my birth story. It went from extreme, I don't want to have a hospital birth, I'm having a home birth, to, bitch, you having an extreme hospital birth. He came out healthy, and that's all really that mattered in the end. So that's my birth story, guys. That's how it went down. And yes, but that's the birth story, guys. I'll see you guys in my next video.